In ancient history, a war between the newly created races of Toril and the forces of Hell left humanity nearly extinct. In the post-cataclysmic world, humans placed themselves above all others, while races deemed undesirable watched from below. Ferox, a newly created race intertwined with beast and elf, were regarded to be even more monstrous and were forced into servitude. During the war, the gods and goddesses gifted unique arcane artifacts to those fighting against the Hells. These items turned the tides of war and brought forth brand new schools of magic in the form of the mage class. Alas, magic and hope fade from a world on the brink of destruction. Our hope now lends itself to a select and unlucky few.
Alright, so, sorry. T managed to acquire, with some help, a scroll of scrying. Say that 5 times fast. Thanks. That was one time. Disappointment.
I didn't want to take up too much time, but now it has. So.
Acquire a scroll of scrying, and was in the process of bringing that back to Sandra, so that you could perhaps spy upon your beloved. Along the way, encountering a fairly inebriated Colette, having
That's like normal for her now.
a conversation with her. Also getting a glimpse into the current state of Gab, who has now been recently appointed as a prefect.
How's that going for her?
Well, she was laying on the ground, starfish position, just kind of yelling at the ceiling. So it's going pretty well.
You should become prefect.
Arwen was left home to continually integrate themselves into the wine night upstairs, as well as play with the wormling. And I believe Kai and Fen were both downstairs drinking.
Yes. We were just like chilling. Like we were hanging out
Chilling
with each
like
other and
villains.
vibing.
Yeah, we hung out all day.
As Sandra was getting ready to do her favor for tea and then call all of you into the meeting, Syl, on the other hand, decided to go off to the Merchant District and meet up with Phoenix, who had been in the tournament and done surprisingly poorly, for some drinks, and after 5 or 6 hours of drinking, decided to spend the night with her up in a room at the Elf Song Tavern. And they went to bed about 3 or 4 hours later, so you can
Yeah, they were
make any
sleep.
make any assumptions about that you would like. But that is where we come to with the 4 of you at least. 3 of you already being at the suites, 1 of you returning. We come back to find T returning to the suites with her newly found scroll. So, what would everybody like to do?
That's some pretty nice acrobatics. Climbing.
I guess I'm waiting for Sandra. Does she want to talk to us?
I'm basically running in, like kicking the door open, looking for Sandra, and as soon as I find her, I'm just gonna be like, come with me, and I'm just gonna like grab her by like the sleeve and try and drag her towards her office.
She's currently in her office, so
Cool.
you went
So I
up to her
kick open
office.
her office door.
Drag her further into her office and put her
As
into her
you would
The
take
secret basement office.
She is in her office upstairs. But as soon as you knock on the door and open it, you would see there is already components like laid out all over the floor and stuff. She just left and just goes,
I got a thing.
She like looks down and everything that she's already set up looks up. Would have been a little awkward if you had failed.
Well, here.
And she'll take it and kind of set it down in the center of like the runes that she has drawn. So in order for this to work at its best, I need a description of him, an article of his clothing, some of his belongings.
Have you
This is what
seen
he
this
looks
man?
like. Well, this is what he looked like about 5 years ago. So maybe more scruff? I don't know.
More gruff?
uh,
You're on the team, right?
his name's Groff. I found his key, and she'll take his key and hand it to her.
Okay, this is good. This will make it significantly more likely that this will succeed, which I believe is what we're going for here. All right, so
Nothing.
if
Just
that
happy and done.
is everything we have, I think it is
But
time
his
to
hair.
start the ritual.
I mean, she might have an article of his clothing in her bag.
I was gonna say his
Like
underwear.
a shirt.
We look like
Pluck up.
I love it.
It honestly, like out of character, it wouldn't do anything
Okay.
for the spell that the key already had not done.
Okay.
Just kind of like, all right, so
That's good enough.
let me look at the poster and just gonna kind of place the medallion right above the scroll there.
You okay?
Sorry. So yes, as she places that down, just like, are you ready?
So what is I'm gonna be?
Alright, so first there's something that I must do to you. This is the only way that we can both see through the scrying spell, so this might be a little uncomfortable for you, but sit down in my chair there behind my desk.
It was nice knowing
She
you,
like
T.
very like, and then goes.
As soon as you're sitting, she comes over to you. There's no way for me to really brace you for this, so just sorry. And she'll tap you on the forehead, you go blind, you go deaf, and then suddenly they both pop back into existence, but you are looking at yourself.
Hate this.
Astral projecting.
Said in character.
Yeah, she can hear you in her head and just goes, and like, in your own consciousness that is now floating inside of her body, you are seeing through and hearing through. She's just, sorry about this, but, otherwise you would just be left on me describing stuff to you, and this seems like the kind of thing that you would want to see for yourself.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
like brain goop floating around.
Alright, are you ready?
I imagine
I
your body just
suppose.
being like flopped over and useless
Yeah.
while your brain is elsewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Charlie wasn't bracing for that, so.
Probably bracing get like hit or something.
Honestly, I thought she was gonna sit on my lap.
What? I really thought she was
And
like
we were gonna do
straddling
the
you.
like what's that movie where they do the clay sculpting?
Ghost.
Yeah, where like hands over hands.
Not quite how magic works, but I
That's magic, baby.
appreciate the sentiment.
Oh god, I hate that I said that. I really do. It was funny in the moment. It was.
So, as she goes over, ready to make the last lines on her sigils, she pauses for a brief moment and just goes, "You sure about this and you're ready?"
It's the only option I got at this point.
Well, no time like the present. Let's see if... So. Everything begins to fade around the corners of your vision first, working towards the center, until you are standing in sort of just a void, like a like a dark void. You can kind of feel the intense concentration coming from Sandra as she is attempting to conjure the image of Gruff and his current whereabouts on your plane, should he be there.
Would it help if I picture him?
You can if you'd like.
Sure.
And so, as she's concentrating on this out loud, or maybe in her head, it's hard to really gauge what's happening in such like a pitch blackness that you're currently standing in. She says, "Is he on this plane or not?" A familiar voice answers back, "He is."
Who?
She asks, "Can you show him to us?" And there's a brief flash of white in the void before it coalesces at her feet. The image of a familiar white cat sitting at her feet looks up at her with the brightest baby blue eyes. And the voice that you heard before of the individual that identified herself as Mistress says, "Yes, I think so. Follow me," and begins to pad off into the darkness before disappearing. Sandra begins to walk before coming to a stop. As you look around, it's dark, but it's no longer pitch black. It is a darkened interior of a room, maybe. You can see the faintest outlines of deep gray stone walls. An open doorway to your left, and the faintest flickering of candlelight or torchlight providing a dim glow that sort of fades by the time it reaches the bottom of the stairway and into this room that you are in. You see a figure. Bipedal in nature, slumped against the corner of the wall, sort of on its side, turned away, face not looking at you. But still a mess of longer hair brought up into a messy bun that does look incredibly familiar. Though is wearing a brown sort of rough patchwork cloak, as half as a cloak, half as a blanket. A minute goes by, 2 minutes go by. You notice the figure, very slowly, the side, right near the lungs and the back, slowly rising, maybe half to 3/4 of an inch, and falling. In a very rhythmic cycle, breathing, alive.
It's not like just sleeping, or
I don't know, currently facing away from you.
is there anything we can do to move him, get closer, get a different angle? Like,
That is unfortunately not how the spell works. You see what you see, focused on what you are looking at, but it is merely a glimpse that we are being given, not something that we can necessarily interact with and change. We are just allowed a glimpse, not physically here, if that makes sense.
can't get closer.
Unfortunately not. Make a perception check.
Ooh, 3.
Natural 20.
Next to him, kind of like, he is in not necessarily the furthest corner, in a different corner, sort of almost blending in with the shadows. you kind of hear just like the faintest of rustling as another figure turns and sort of slowly rolls over and is now facing in your general direction, though not looking at you as you are. The way that scrying works is there is an invisible sensor sort of conjured into the room, so unless someone can see invisibility, they're not going to know that you are looking at them. But she sort of like looks in your general direction, eyes open for a second before fluttering shut. With a natural 20, even through the darkness, even with your lack of dark vision,
Right, you don't have it.
No.
for a brief moment, maybe additional torches are being lit in the stairwell, but a little bit of bright light shines down the stairwell, illuminating the room better for just a moment, and you're able to make out the face of Noelle.
Alright.
Except not
Normal.
exactly the face of Noelle. There are deep blue and green gashes, scars that you can see carved into different pieces of the face. From what you can see of her neck and her collarbones, the same sort of thing, sort of roughly carved open and just sort of very rudimentally sewed shut, almost with simply like a needle and thread. Very patchwork on their body.
Great. Love that. So great.
Another minute passes. And you look towards the far wall itself, as each wall has a set of chains on them that are all empty. Here, here, the door here, an empty set here, and the set in the shadows here that you have not been able to see until now. You hear the faintest bit of voices, once again with your natural 20, the faintest bit of voices coming from up the stairs. The lights grow brighter, as if another set of torches were lit, shining into the room, so that the entire room is now in dim light, which does allow you to make out all of the details. And you see, on the far wall, previously in shadows, the chains occupied by a very familiar wolf ferox.
Great.
You see hanging there, one arm up in each chain, neck collared and chained to the wall as well, chained by mid-torso, lower torso, and two different chains attached to the legs and feet, completely keeping him suspended approximately 12, maybe 14 inches off of the ground. Howler. His eyes just sort of open, just sort of staring out into the darkness before they kind of flicker to the huddled mass in the corner, as the huddled mass kind of shakes slightly, gives just a very faint, just kind of like angles himself to look towards Howler. In this light, you're able to see not the face, as it is obscured by the pieces of hair that aren't tied up into the bun, but a very familiar looking silhouette as you glimpse the side of the face. As Howler talks, his voice ruddy and just hoarse, like he hasn't had water in days. You know, kid, I think I fucked up. None of this was exactly what I had in mind. I had expected to find you, but it's a little far from a rescue mission, isn't it? I still can't believe that he found her. how long all of this has really been going on. And for no one at the monastery to notice. I'm sorry no one came sooner. If it makes you feel any better, probably gonna wind up looking just as fucked up as you are. Kind of tries to give a laugh, but it's just, there's not even enough moisture left in his throat to produce it. As he begins, he falls silent, the huddled mass never answering him. The footsteps echo down the stairwell louder and louder before emerging from the stairwell, a man you have only seen once before.
I really hope that means it's Chernobog.
It is indeed Chernobog.
Oh, thank God.
Followed by a second man. A half-elf man with pitch black hair, kind of in between wavy and curly, cutting off at his shoulders, piercing light blue eyes that are devoid of any emotion. They are, as he enters the room and you see the eyes dart around, they are methodical, calculating, merciless. As he just, and he is able to just analyze everything going on in the room immediately. His first priority. A thin, sort of, impressively grown for a half-elf, as they're not the best at growing facial hair necessarily, but a thin sort of mustache and goatee sort of grace his face. He's wearing beautifully oiled and crafted leather armors, a scimitar on one belt and a dagger on the other. The scimitar sort of like a faint golden red glow to it, obviously magical, as well as earrings, necklaces, bracelets, rings, a lot of jewelry. Looks very well taken care of. As Chernobog walks in, the other man kind of stays standing at the doorway. Chernobog just kind of like looks over the two huddled masses before looking up at Howler. Howler just kind of like looks at him, just meets eye contact, and just glares at him. As Chernobog just walks up to him slowly. So, my pet, are you yet ready to obey me? You see Howler just kind of like stare at him silently for 5 seconds. I'd spit in your face if I had any left. And Chernobog just sort of smiles to himself. Exactly the response I was expecting, and the one I was looking for. You see, it does not do well to break one that has no spirit. Those ones are weak. Those ones can't take what kind of turns towards the huddled mass in the corner that you would have identified as gruff. They cannot take the gifts that I have to offer. But you may surpass even him. You could be my second, well, third greatest creation. I have, of course, my own greatest creation. And we all know, I never think that you could surpass her. She is Even the great liches of Netheril herself would gaze in awe at her. But for now, we still need to break you. And that's my favorite part. He kind of reaches out his hand, it's sort of glowing, that same sort of blue-green glow that was present in Gruff's and Noel's scars, and kind of grabs onto his face, and his face just begins to like burn and sizzle with like the arcane necrotic energy that he is like infusing into it. Howler opens up his mouth to scream, but nothing comes out, not enough moisture or workings left in his vocal cords to produce a scream as he just opens his mouth and in silent agony it just burns into him. Finally, after 30 seconds or so, takes away his hand. You can see the hand imprint over Howler's face where it had been burned into him. As he sort of turns away, Howler sort of dropping what little bit he can in the chain, just sort of slumping in them. They don't allow for much movement, but you can kind of see the posture change. As he walks back, eyes up, looks over towards the half-elf man. Nav, see if there is anything that can be done about this Black Rose issue that we seem to be running into now. They seem to be overstepping their bounds is the wrong word. Just like they view us simply as pawns that they are ready to discard, but I don't know, I think they're quite underestimating us, wouldn't you think? Let's see, sort of just calculating grin come from the half-elf before Chernabog continues. Thinks he is all high and mighty with his golem craft, despite the fact that, I don't know that anyone would prefer that to the necromancian lichdom that can be seen in front of our own eyes. Well, it would not do to be away for very long, after all. It appears that we have a couple of new test subjects that we may wish to capture, after all. Those that defied me in Baldur's Gate are certainly piquing my interest. Well, we're not due away to be alone from the city. Now we shall return now. Kind of turns back towards the three of them. Should the three of you need anything, we'll be back at this facility in maybe 3 weeks' time. While I'm away, you can refer any of your issues to the one I am leaving in charge, the Chained Archangel. Well, I hope you continue to develop as nicely as I want you to. Goodbye. That he kind of turns and slowly begins to ascend the steps after the half-elf leaves first. The scene slowly starts to fade as you are returned first to the Black Void, and then finally back into Sandra's office, kind of snapping back as if the feeling that you get when you like you're falling asleep and your body decides that you're falling even though you're not, is kind of the feeling that you get as you quickly snap back into your own body. Now sitting at in Sandra's chair at her desk, as Sandra gets up from her kneeling position and kind of looks over the desk at you. Wow, you certainly waste no time getting involved with all of the worst people that you possibly could, do you? No time for small fry.
I was involved with them before I got here, apparently.
Were one of those 3 people that we saw the one that you were looking for?
Technically, I'm looking for all 3 of them at the moment.
Well, that's good, I suppose. All 3 of them did seem to be alive in various stages of life or unlife. I don't mean to be rude, but I would assume that I am fairly more well-read than you are. Reading
Yes.
does not seem to be your strongest suit.
Correct.
Did the Chained Archangel mean anything to you? Because that is not a name that I have ever heard used. Which I suppose the good thing is, even among gods and their champions, it is not a name that I am familiar with.
No, but I can only imagine it's one of the things he's made.
Right. So, I'm assuming you plan to go after them.
Yes. Sounds like I have 3 weeks.
Are you aware of where they currently lie?
I believe they lie in a mountain range to the east. Rain said he knows of a facility in that area.
That is good. I would continue to work with him to discover first that is indeed the facility that you are looking for. As with my run-ins with Chernobog, I am sure he's the kind of man who has more than one. It would not. I imagine they are far enough apart that if you went to the wrong one, it would cost you a great deal of time, and based upon what I saw, I do not believe time is something that you do have a great deal of. So if you're going to make a guess, I would make sure that you guess correctly. And
Agreed.
once you do, if it is a mountain range to the east, the closest mountain range to the east that I can think of are the Sword Mountains. They are a very, very large mountain range, divided into 2 separate ranges. The 2 ranges themselves are about a 2.5 days travel apart from each other, and to get there is, you're looking at maybe 2.5 to 3 weeks of travel in the best of times. Not to mention the fact that they are both very, very large mountain ranges. If you do not know exactly where you are going, then I would say things could get problematic.
I'll just have to get more precise details from Rain.
I think that would be very wise. Perhaps, if not necessarily breaking into guild headquarters, then maybe trying to pick off an occasional messenger of theirs.
I'll do whatever it takes.
They tend to send messengers through Dust Town in the evening hours occasionally, so if you could pick one off and get lucky, you might have some information on him. You certainly seem like the type that's well equipped to handle yourself at night in stealth situations. But don't want to go around giving you any dangerous ideas, so I'll just leave it at that. You can do with that information whatever you would like.
Alright.
Do me a favor and go down and get the 4 friends of yours that you have, so that we can have our meeting that I originally called you here for. I assumed this was something that you wish to be kept secret from everyone else.
Oh no.
Very well. Well, then let's not speak of this any longer.
She's also gonna put 5 gold on her desk before leaving. Consider that use of your magic.
It is simply nice to get to use it. It is very rare nowadays that I get to freely practice magic. After all, I would not want Especially after the only other one in the city has fallen, I would not want word to get around of another wizard living in the city of Baldur's Gate. It would be a hassle.
Well, you don't have to worry about me splitting any rooms.
I appreciate that. So what do you do?
I'll head out to the main room and just be like, Sandra's ready for us.
Alright then.
And
I'm gonna wait for everybody else to go.
we have to go through the kitchen to get to our office, right?
Yes.
Alright. On the way through, I'm grabbing a bottle of wine, and then I'm shoving a second one in my bag. And I'm already drinking from the first while walking back.
All of that.
So you get up there. You're able to find these two in the barn. They come up with you. You're joined later by Arwen and the Wormling. She's just kind of still sitting there at her desk and just goes, "You won short in your quest."
I don't know where he is. He knows that he's supposed to be back, but perhaps he got caught up in some.
He's fucked
Perhaps
off
he got
somewhere.
Perhaps he got caught up in some business.
Does anyone know where he is?
No, he didn't really tell us where he was going. Just assume maybe he has some family business.
Maybe he's finally getting laid.
He was
Oh my
awfully
God.
flirty with Rax this afternoon.
He was. I'm sorry.
Awfully flirty with Rax this afternoon.
Desperate times call for desperate times.
Ooh.
Wow!
I wouldn't call her that.
No, not her. I think she was smoking.
I think that's not a bad thing in the right circumstance.
There is no right circumstance for that.
Regardless,
Anyway, Sandra, yes, you wanted to speak to us.
yes, I was hoping it would be all of you though.
We'll go in.
If he's not already.
1 second. She kind of like leans out of her office and gets like two of the workers at the tavern to kind of like head out for a second. She waits about 5 minutes before they come back. So he's apparently nowhere to be found in the suites, though they did run into Rax and Autumn sitting down at the bar, so that theory is certainly disproven. Rax said that she had last seen him this evening. They were walking back to the suites together when he suddenly remembered something that he had to do, and went off back into the market district. So,
Perhaps he had to buy some things. I don't know.
well, we'll wait a little longer for him. It is, after all, only just sunset now. He might have just lost track of the time.
Yes, our time is valuable, but we can always spare some for Sylvanus.
I imagine T's already chugged half the bottle of wine. Well, he better be back for tomorrow morning.
If you yourself are up to it,
I'll be fine.
go ahead, go for the other bottle. Have some cheese. There's some
She
cheese
just
in
like
the
starts
kitchen.
reaching for a third bottle, and you just hear like a jingle of her back. No, I'm kidding. Not an alcoholic, she's just going through some shit.
Understandable.
Sandra would wait, and after about half an hour, would just walk up to you and just snatch the bottle of wine out of your hand and just goes, "I suppose we'll start then." And just very angrily, like, finishes the remaining half of the bottle.
I reach into
And
my
puts it
bag
down.
and grab the one that I put in there.
Why do you look one upping it?
Grabs that one as you're pulling it out, takes another swig and pushes it, like, hands it back to you and just goes and sits at her desk and just goes, "Well, that's boy. But I have a very good reason for this, and a very, very good explanation when I see him next. So, right, our meeting. This would have been significantly better if you were here for it, seeing as how this directly concerns him, but it's fine.
Then why are we even here?
So, we are here because one of you still possesses that which I am about to talk to you of, and it seems like another one of you is hunting for yours.
Yep.
The instruments of fate.
Yes.
She just like sits down. You can see her like starting to mentally check out of the conversation.
Oh,
Like,
no.
oh, I don't have to care about this.
How very
Every now and then, I'll like mage hand behind her and just like pull her up when she's starting to slump over.
She's not like that.
Oh, okay.
Like,
I don't know, it might be.
she can hold her liquor because she's been drinking since she was a child.
Alcohol spill effects.
We don't condone children
Noticing-
drinking,
No.
by the way.
Noticing this, Sandra kind of looks at you and just goes, I would pay attention if I were you. After all, you may wind up with one as well. I believe you have the capabilities of wielding one.
It kind of
Find
seems
the
like
right
a
one for
free-for-all
you.
at this point, honestly.
But
What instrument would want gutter trash for a wielder? Let's
I don't
just
know,
take
but
some
there
of-
might be an instrument that wants you.
You're not here.
Oh, Fendi is
So.
ignoring the fact you called yourself that.
the instruments
He called
of
himself
fate.
worse.
These are very, very curious weapons, and they are weapons, all of them, every last one. They predate the Cataclysm. They predate the very beginning of the Great War between the forces of humanity and the forces of the Hells and the Abyss. And they predate even the gods and goddesses themselves. So as far as who created them, it is entirely unknown. The greatest of scholars have spent millennia and millennia looking at them, studying them, and still nothing. Which is their age, though, however, is why, despite as the magic of this world fades, the magic in these instruments remain as strong as ever, if not growing stronger as the time goes on. Very curious. Now you're also able to maybe see why they are so sought after in today's day and age. To wield the kind of power that they offer, especially at their fullest, is a gift unlike any other. After all, I'm sure, kind of gestures to Arwen, you've seen the kind of things that these instruments can do with no stones.
Yeah, that was cool.
And their power only grows. She goes behind her desk and sort of walks up to part of the wall, and just sort of a glyph appears over her hand, and she just kind of waves her hand in front of the wall, and there's suddenly a case affixed to the wall that sort of shimmers into existence. She opens it up and pulls the long sword and the sickle that you had seen her wielding in the basin. And you would see on the long sword there are 2 stones in it, each one like a half crescent. One of them, one of the stones, all of the colors that make it look like a sort of translucent dawn. The other one, all the colors that make it look like a translucent dusk. As you find the stones that are tempered specifically for your instrument, the power that they wield only grows to the point where the instruments themselves are individually stronger than anyone who wields them. Though one does need to be sufficiently strong to wield them. And the work that they do can only be guided by the one who wields them. So, it is important that they are guided in the right direction, as each of them have their own themes, uses, some more dark and twisted than others. But, as far as my own personal beliefs and my encounters with them, I do not think they were created by the gods and goddesses. I believe the fact that it was... When ancient scholars say that they were created before them, I tend to believe them. In fact, I find it hard to believe that they are from the material plane at all. And even looking at outer planes, I do not know of something that exists in our current cosmic universe that has the power to create things of this caliber. Whether there is something more out there, should one travel outside the material plane to the astral sea, past the outer planes, into the infinite chaos that lies beyond the known universe. Whether or not there is something more out there, I do not. But I would not be surprised if there was something else as a whole. Now, the stones that accompany the instruments. Just because you find a stone that looks as this does not mean it will fit your instrument in particular. There are stones made for each individual instrument, and they will only fit with the one that they were made for. That said, in order to find them, it is not so hard as finding a needle in a stack of hay, per se. The stones and the instruments themselves always seem to find their way into places of grave danger or other personal or worldly significance, for one reason or another. The instruments can also sense when one of their stones are near, so if you are attuned to one of these instruments and get within even 25 miles of a stone, you will know. It will call to you like a siren song aboard a ship full of sailors guiding them to the rocks. It will call to you. You will know. Should all three be collected, I am not sure what happens. To be perfectly honest, there are no records in history of anyone managing to find an instrument of fate and collect all three of them before they're lost and stones scattered. 2 is the most I've ever heard of. There are only 2 other people in history that have ever collected 2 stones into a single instrument of fate. Aside from himself, there is one, an elven champion long, long ago, a champion of Mystra, and there is someone who currently holds an instrument of fate, who has 2 stones found for their instrument as well. Though I know not his name, he is the one who leads Black Rose. So, as you venture forth, please convey this information on to your half-elven friend.
Of course.
Be on the lookout for these instruments and what they call to you. And be on the lookout for these stones, for if you are all to have the effect on the world that I believe that you will, these are tools which I believe will make that journey significantly easier and more, quite frankly, possible. So, that is all I have for you at the moment. Is there anything else that you need of me?
I have a question. I've been asking, well, not asking around. I looked at the library, asked my friend Harp. By any chance, are you familiar with the Warlock? Not the Warlock, the Lich Larlock. Know anything about him?
Lich Larlock. Yes.
I just spelled Larloc.
Yes, correct.
Oh, I got it right. Okay, cool.
The Lich Larlock. He was not always known by this name, though what name he originally had. I do not believe.
The Ethereal Empire was
I do not believe I have ever read what his name was prior to becoming a Lich, but he was a great archmage and lord of the great Netherreal city of Sanctuary.
Yes, I know that. I wasn't sure if you...
And when the cataclysm happened and Sanctuary fell from the sky and crashed into the mountains, he, along with one of his rival archmages, stumbled upon the ruins and had a terrible battle there. Larlock emerged victorious, enslaved his former rival, and began to claim the ruins as his own sort of headquarters as he pursued infinite life and lichdom, and now has some sort of undead legion.
Yes, I heard from my friend that he does have a legion, but he's using it to keep people out, not necessarily to go and conquer. So that's going to be a bit of a problem, considering we need to get in there.
From my understanding, he does not.
It's one of those things where if you speak his true name, he'll become nice.
I don't believe so, but he is the kind of. Don't get me wrong; it's still an archmage that views morality as a sign of weakness and a general inconvenience. But someone who approaches lichdom through the practical eyes of seeing death as a nuisance and as something that gets in the way of the studies that he wishes to do, not necessarily as a means to, say,
World domination.
exactly.
Right, I can work with that. See, oh, what's his face isn't here. I was trying to tell him maybe we could approach this diplomatically.
I do not know that a diplomatic approach would necessarily work,
Well, at
as he is
least
very,
talking to him a little.
from my understanding and the brief run-in that I've had at the Warlock script.
So you've been there.
I have once before in younger years, when I was significantly more reckless and significantly less powerful.
Want to go again?
Not not particularly. I had snuck my way down, as there are 13 floors there, as far down as the 9th floor, where there was a room maybe about 2,000 by 2,000 feet, about 1,000 feet high, a straight path about 5 feet wide going clear from one side of the room to the other. This was the entire floor. And either side of the 5 feet was water, being suspended there from floor to ceiling, held in sort of a three-dimensional triangle of sorts. And unless a certain trap or glyph or something was deactivated, as soon as you stepped in, the doors would shut and the water would converge on you. And this could only be reversed, and the far side of the door only be opened should you reach it, place your hand upon it, and use some sort of magical device that we had acquired earlier in the temple to open it. But it would only work if you could defeat... There were 2 pets that he had in the water. 2, if you are familiar with an aboleth.
Heard of them. Read about them in a book once.
Each of them attached around their necks were sort of a collar, and once defeated, or if you were feeling particularly adventurous while they were alive, a small shard could be detached from each collar, and they combined to complete the artifact, and then the doors could be opened. So, with the prospect of having to fight me and 2 companions, 2 fully grown aboleths from the abyssal plane, we declined and decided that our adventure had ended there.
Skip the 9th floor. Sounds good.
But in order to reach the lich, you would have to get
I
through
don't
that
really
floor.
want to. I don't think I have to reach him. I just need some stones.
Yes, so I would stay focused. I would stay focused on what you were there to do, and perhaps not stray away from that path.
No problem. Stealthy it is.
Any further questions for me?
No, that's all I had. But it was very helpful. Thank you.
Bid all of you a good night then.
Good night. Should we go looking for Sylvanus? It's been quite a time. What if he's hurt?
Let's go.
He's rich. He'll be fine.
He's rich!
If somebody pickpocketed him, he gets rid of his gold all the time anyway.
You know, T, I suppose you are right.
He won a lot with the betting, so he's fine.
Speaking of betting, perhaps you should go to sleep. You look a little tired.
I'm fine.
So you wouldn't mind a drink with me and Kai?
Your eyes are just slightly darker purple than the rest of your face.
As usual. Fine, sure, I was gonna be drinking anyway.
As you get down the stairs, there is one person waiting for you down there, and it is Celeste.
Who's that?
Arwen's little sister.
Oh yeah. I was like,
She kind of
Yeah.
is like waiting down there, kind of like impatiently tapping her foot, sees her come down, kind of like immediately runs into a flying hug with Arwen.
Hooray. What's going on, kid?
Not too much. I actually needed to talk to a friend of yours.
Question?
Nope, that one.
T?
I just like I started going like this.
Nope, you. Kind of like
Hello,
strolls it up to you, like
How are
hand-
you, small reptile? I love you.
hands on hips, looking up at you. Like a flintlock pistol on one hip, a scimitar on the other hip, kind of in her leathers, and even has the currently wearing like the triangular hat that she wears.
I'm just like,
So,
Metaphor.
heard you.
open person.
Yeah. Well, perhaps I could help with that.
Perhaps I would appreciate that.
Well,
Need to go through the dragon straight.
you'll certainly owe me a favor, but
How about just some gold?
no, I prefer favors.
What about half and half?
She's smart.
Favor.
Half of what you would charge, and then the favor is just not a super scary favor, but a favor nonetheless.
This is a scary favor.
Nope.
All right. Well, I still appreciate your help, and I will owe you that favor.
Sounds good. As also, I figured rather than making you walk all the way up to Ocean Lily again, we can just leave from the port in Baldur's Gate. It'll also,
I wasn't
it'll-
thinking of how
it'll-
water works.
it'll also kind of save you a day's travel.
Oh, that would be lovely. Give us some more wiggle room when we come back. If we come back, I'm saying we because nobody actually agreed yet. Oh, Kai agreed and Twy agreed. I don't know if T is going to. I don't know if Arwen's really down for
I'll
it.
help you out for money.
All right. Chiron, you drive a hard bargain.
Shit like that.
I rustle through my coin purse and I hand Kai 5 copper.
That's his early rate.
If anyone else handed him 5 copper, probably spit in their face, but
That's all I have.
How
Well,
long of a journey is it again?
do you actually
Well,
give me
so
5
if
copper?
we're cutting,
If you're going there by foot, it's about 4 days. But if we're sailing there, if we don't have the wind on our side, it's gonna be 3 days. If we do have the wind on our side, we'll probably get there in 2 days.
I thought it was going to take 2 weeks.
It was going to be a 4-day travel there, and then like a day's travel to get across the strait, and then do your stuff there, and then a day's travel across the strait back, and 4 days walking back.
Oh,
But if
so,
she's-
so
if
we're
she's-
skipping all the walking.
If she is sailing you there, then at the very least, if you have the wind, you are cutting out the 5 days of travel and turning 5 days travel into 2 days travel.
Oh, that's great.
Ben.
And how long did it was it told that it would take to get to the mountains again?
A year.
Wasn't it like 16 days?
A year.
Something like that. You're just
So
traveling
out
my
out
to the-
thing
to
was,
the, to
my
your
thing-
mountains?
my
Yeah.
thing was 16 days by foot.
If
No?
you went around
Ten.
to get to the mountains is about. It depends what method of transportation you use. If you're walking, it's about 4 weeks. If you're on horses, it's about 3 weeks. And if you take a combination of like rafting up the river and then kind of walking after that, you can cut it to about 17 days. Each way.
Mm-hmm. Alright.
Oh, I should mention though, I wouldn't be able to get you there and back just because there is a job that I have to do. So in that case, I guess you do kind of have a choice. Either I can take you there, and you can kind of find your own way back, or you can find your own way there, and when you're done there, I can just pick you up and zip you right back to Baldur's Gate.
Well, you know people at the docks up at Ocean. Do you think one of them would be willing to, if we gave them some money, ferry us out there to cross the street?
I think they would ferry you out there. Don't know that you could find somebody to sit and wait at the Warlock's Crypt to ferry you back.
Well, I figured if we find our way there while we have energy, when we're done and we're tired and we want to make it back to the city as soon as possible, it might be easier to just take the quick way back.
Yeah, you're gonna be involved with some scary shit, aren't you? Let's be honest here. All right.
Sorry.
So,
Bitch.
in that case, proposition for you.
What?
You walk your way up, or horseback, whatever you'd like to do, your way to Ocean Lily. Mention my name, get ferry ride across, do what you gotta do there. And when you inevitably, knowing my older sibling, the way that I do, are you going with?
Yeah, if we keep the fighting together, there'll be less stuff.
Dream.
Oh boy, alright. Well, knowing the kind of trouble that Arwen can sometimes get up to,
All the time.
when you are, hey, you're not there. Knowing the kind of trouble that Arwen can get up to, and seeing how the rest of you seemingly like Arwen, and therefore I'm assuming you get up to the same kind of trouble.
Oh, yes. Look at this.
When you have 48 hours once you get there, and in that time, you come running out of there as fast as you can. I will be waiting on the shoreline with cannons aimed at the place to shoot anything that might be following you. You get on, and we haul ass as fast as we can back to Baldur's Gate and the fuck out of there.
That sounds like a good plan to me.
100%.
What's our one sister's name again?
Celeste.
Thank you.
You just have to remember it.
Well, I appreciate your offer, and I shall certainly take you up on that.
Sounds good.
And for anybody who's coming with, since it's sort of a me thing, I'm willing to rent out the horses. You know, out of my pocket. I wouldn't expect you all to cover those costs. What? I thought it was 5 gold each for each horse.
That's kind of like rummaging through her pockets and finally produces a piece of parchment. Okay, so for doing this, just do me one favor and sign right here.
What's,
kind of like,
what's on this? What's it say?
It's just
I'm reading it.
It's just essentially confirming that you owe. Ooh, I know the name of this boat. I remember this because I made it.
Oh my god, you said it too, and I don't remember what it's called.
It's salty something.
I remember you said it because it was like Sylvanus' family's boats know that when they see that boat that some stuff has mysteriously
Oh
disappeared.
my gosh.
The sea squall.
How far back was it?
Ooh,
No,
I'm right here.
no page of your notes are the same, and I enjoy the chaotic energy of that.
Yeah, this one is all doodles on it.
Yeah.
I don't think I have it.
Okay.
I think I filed it mentally under Sylvanus' dad's problem, not my problem.
The Salt Blossom.
Salt blossom.
Oh,
There
you
we
guys found it
go.
at the same
That was
time.
horrifying.
It's just essentially saying like where you're signing it's I blank. Hereby owe one favor, a debt to be collected at any time and for any reason to Celeste and the Salt Blossom.
Alright.
Thank
And his
you.
soul
And just
is
kind of
gone.
tucks it back in. Yeah.
I imagine it's like a coupon book. It's like, I owe Celeste one favor.
It's just like in SpongeBob when they're all waiting for Mr. Krabs' soul. He's like, sorry, I already sold it to these monsters. She's still like wait in line for it.
Is there like a strait you could sail us down from the Warlock's Crypt to get us closer to the Soul Mountains?
A straight. No, you're gonna be looking for a very different kind of boat for that.
It was a small boat, remember? We needed like a dinghy.
Yeah,
but I wasn't
so
sure
the
if we,
issue-
like, we're essentially here on the continent and we're going to here, so I wasn't sure if there was different coming.
No, I get what she means. Yeah.
So, the strait that you have to go across to get from Ocean Lily to the Warlock's Crypt is, that's part of the Winding Water, is the name of the river. That comes down south, maybe about halfway to Baldur's Gate before taking a north turn and going through the Troll Claws, going by, Borskier Bridge, and after that it just goes north all the way through the High Moor and the Forest of Worms, before eventually finishing up at the marsh of Shalimber, which is just south of the Great Peak Mountains, which is probably like, if you're going by foot, maybe 4 to 6 weeks travel north of here, so nowhere close, unfortunately. What you're going to want is a small boat, raft maybe, that can take you up the river Chionthlar, past Fort Morning Lord, probably to Scornabel, take you through the Reaching Woods, and once you get to the Reaching Woods, you can pretty much, also totally misnamed the mountains, I mistook the Sword Mountains, which are split into 2 different mountain ranges, and the Sunset Mountains, which are split into 2 different mountain ranges. I don't know why they would make them both S mountain ranges and make them so fucking similar and close together, but
So is it the Sunset
Sunset
Mountain?
Mountains are the ones you're looking for. Yeah, it'll take you through the reaching woods, and from where you get off there, you probably have... Actually, you can probably follow that river all the way into the middle of the Sunset Mountains. The northern ones, at least, if that's where you're heading. You can take the River Shionthar all the way there. But, nothing that we can help with, unfortunately. The deepest that river gets is maybe... Well, actually, the deepest that it gets isn't a problem, because as you get further to the east, it gets pretty deep and pretty wide. But, like, especially around Baldur's Gate, there are periods where it's only 10 to 15 feet deep, and that would destroy any boats that we have in our armada, so it's gonna be a no-go. I can give you a lifeboat, but probably want something a little bigger than that.
Do you think it'd be faster to leave from the Warlock's Crypt or from Baldur's Gate?
Baldur's Gate.
Plus, we'll have more time to supply up before we need to go.
This is me, Maddie, trying to be like, oh, I could go and then just leave from there to go there, but we won't have the time to do both.
Well, I guess it's whatever T wants to do.
I made it pretty clear last session what T wanted to do.
To where? The Warlock's Crypt?
Yeah.
No,
No,
you
we're-
are hiking there and taking the boat back.
Okay, I had it backwards.
Oh, it's nighttime, so I'm gonna go away from but anybody who's coming with, I'd preferably like to leave tomorrow so we have as much time as possible.
Sounds good. You can do that.
But I don't know if that's agreeable with everybody else.
While you are traveling there and doing your business there, I can take care of the job that we currently have, so I will be free and clear to pick you up and head back here when we need to.
Sounds good. Perhaps, I don't know, maybe when we're halfway there we send you like a hawk or something to let you know halfway there. Don't think it's needed.
Not needed. We'll follow the schedule and hopefully everything works out.
Are there airships?
Not that we could afford to rent.
You mean like a ship that would float like those cities used to?
No, like how sometimes in D&D there's like actual
Like
airships.
steampunky.
Yeah.
Like blimps, basically.
Well, no. Celeste is like asking you like how the cities of Nephiro used to float, and she's like a ship that did that.
I was asking more as Maddie.
They're, as your GM, they're in development, and some people are trying to explore whether or not that idea would work.
Yo, Wright brothers.
Though there's none that currently exist that function.
We'll just invent flying real fast.
Maybe about 35 years ago, a group of really powerful mages up near Neverwinter did their best on one, and they had like a couple of world-renowned artificers working on it. And they just used, they had like 2 or 3 people like attempting to pilot a small one, and it was able to fly for about 15 to 20 minutes before it came crashing down, and they very, very luckily did it over water as it kind of crashed into the water. Destroyed most of the work, though all 3 people aboard did survive. But it is still very much an idea in development rather than something that is currently practically available.
Well, I plan on leaving around, let's say, 1 in the afternoon in case anybody needs to buy. In case anybody needs to buy any supplies or anything, I'm going to see if I can get a potion. I also need
lots of wine.
No, we need water.
Why?
I'll rent out the horses. T, I'll rent one in case you decide to come with us. If not, whatever you have to do, just consider that horse for you to use as you please.
I have 3 weeks to get to the Sunset Mountains.
Or
That's where Chernabog is holding them.
you're going to die if you go there. By
So
yourself.
be it.
Then you're not going to help anybody, and then he's going to do weird necromancy things to you. Don't you think it would be more prudent if we sort of got a little bit stronger before we went to go face Chernabog? And it would also be extra prudent if we did it all together.
He's not going to be there for 3 weeks, but he's coming back here.
You don't think he's going? Well, he's not going to be leaving it unwatched, I'm sure.
No, but he said only 1. In and out, quiet.
Well, I don't think there's anything I can do to convince you to come with us.
Sounds
But if,
fake, but okay.
but if you
I don't
change
know
your
if I'll have
mind,
another chance.
I get that. But I just don't think. I think you're being a little brash. because I have people there that are important to me too. But if we just rush in as we are now, I don't think we have a chance. I think we should bide our time just a.
Sorry.
What?
Nothing.
I just think that we should bide our time a little bit. You know, stock up on things, get a little bit stronger. I know that's what we need to do.
You mean your muscles weren't real?
I make myself look like Kai, but with big buck teeth. Like this?
As soon as he does, he's just like, do I look like that?
You do now.
And I change back. Anyways, it's your decision to make, of course, but I really think that you should think it over, because while thinking with your heart is good sometimes you need to take a step back and really analyze the situation. And I think you'll find that you'll regret it if you go rushing in alone.
I regret it even more if he's dead.
Well, do you know if he's dead or alive? Do you have any sort of information other than that he might be there?
At the moment, he's alive, but he
Well,
doesn't
that's
look
something.
good.
Well, you said he's been gone for about 5 years, correct?
A little more than that.
Well, I still think that we should bide our time, but if you really think it's the best course of action to go by yourself, there's nothing we can do to stop you. But maybe you should take the night to think it over, wake up in the morning with a fresh mind, reconsider. The horse will be there and be for you to use as you please regardless. It would give for an old chap Fendian to just I don't have anything else to say that sort of rolls off with your name, but we'll think of it. Anyways, I'm going to bed. I'm going to leave a note for Sylvanus, and the note, I'm not writing it, it just says everything that I just fucking said. And I'll have some wine when I go to bed.
Mom.
Actually, no, I'm mad at you about the tooth thing.
I'm gonna grab another bottle of wine, and then doesn't
As you do, the bartender is going to, the barmaid currently is going to hand you a note.
remember. Yeah, I open it.
Spooky.
It is from Rain. It informs you that in 10 days' time there will be a group of 2 messengers that are coming in, that are meant to be coming in from wherever it is that Chernobog is currently doing experiments into the city in order to make contact with the main part of the guild. And they should be accessing the city via the bridge, if you wish to intercept.
In 2 weeks?
10 days.
10? Well, it's kind of 2 weeks.
I mean, yeah.
Close.
It's a week and 3 days then.
It also says there might be like other people coming in from the guild that he doesn't know about, but that's the one that he specifically does.
She's gonna like groan very loudly and then like flip the letter over and in very bad handwriting say,
Do it, Daddy.
Daddy's coming home for 3 weeks, and then hand it back and say to give it to Rain.
Oh, Chernobog.
Alright. After
Who?
that, so what are you all doing?
I'm gonna grab another bottle of wine, and then Sandra has like a shed in the backyard,
Oh
right?
no.
Yeah.
I'm gonna crawl onto the roof and drink until I pass out.
I'll forget what time it is.
It's nighttime. What is everybody else doing?
Bite me.
Oh, like I said,
No,
I'm going to
it's
sleep and
something
waiting for the next day.
You two? What you doing? Bedtime?
The NPCs up there moving?
Most of them are starting to get to bed.
Bed.
Bedtime.
I have to touch the worm again first.
Absolutely. The wormling. You and Luna kind of get up into your snuggling situation that you got going on. You notice Still's bed is empty in your room. The wormling kind of curls up at the foot of the bed, like kind of like a cat does. Okay.
What a good girl.
You would notice she's while you guys have been flying and like outside earlier in the day, she's kind of been practicing a few of her newer abilities that she has. She's kind of at this point can extend out a sort of like a cone of cold, probably about 10 to 15 feet, and just sort of like icicles kind of gather on like the ground that she's breathing on, and then she can kind of like almost like snap back up, and you see the cold kind of disappear, and instead static runs up her throat, and she kind of breathes out like a thin line of lightning energy that just sort of like crackles along the ground.
Yo, cough drops.
Same.
Gee, no! That's not fire you're breathing!
Lightning can go about 30 feet.
No, lightning.
Oh, I thought she was gonna throw up. That makes more sense.
So,
That's dope.
hey, Sil,
Yes.
do me a favor.
Yes.
Roll me a d20.
That's how many hours you're asleep, bro.
20?
Actually, no. I need you to roll me.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
7 20s.
He's never
D100.
No, not a d100.
Flip the D1 coin. Use the D1.
I don't think I have enough dice.
Not a D2.
No.
Jump it in there.
I only did that once.
You
The
win.
campaign. Don't touch me.
Heads for Sil wins, tails for he loses.
I don't. I still
so
wouldn't be locked outside
you won.
again.
Again.
Wow. Wow.
Wow.
Wow.
A guard walks into their hotel room. What's this? Is this allowed? What the? Is this allowed? And she's like, stop. Stop.
Sil,
Yes.
make a wisdom saving throw.
Uh-oh.
It's cocked.
Is that cocked?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is she.
Oh god.
Whoa. You wake up in.
Where the fuck is it?
At the bottom. The very bottom of the page. The saves.
Okay. 11.
11?
Yes.
Okay, good to know.
Brush your teeth.
Now do me a favor.
What?
Roll me 3d4.
3d4.
Oh.
Okay.
Wow.
Roll 1, and if it has a really bad number, keep rolling that one. Like, oh wait, well, in this case, good. Like, if it rolls a 1, then just roll that one again.
Roll me 3d4.
Motherfucker.
Here we go.
Escalators, escalators, escalators!
Yo.
No, you don't.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay. Not great. 8.
8.
Yes.
Oh no.
Alright,
He's
so
gonna kick
you,
your ass.
I was
I
saying,
think he's already gonna kick
you
my
went,
ass.
you went to bed at about,
3 a.m. I think was.
in between 3 and 4, so by the time you wake up it is roundabouts noon.
Okay.
But, before we get into that, we are going to cut to our break for tonight. Mainly because your DM has to pee really bad.
And we have some
So-
dragon stuff.
We will be back in about 10 to 15 minutes. We will see you then, and we will get into Sil waking up and getting his ass kicked. We will get into Chi actually witnessing some fun stuff before she passes out drunk asleep. And we will get into
Travel.
dream sequences. One-on-one dream sequences for everybody, is there?
Why?
That's fun
There's something
too.
in the air tonight that is going
Uh-oh.
to make all of your dreams real weird. So, without any further ado, cut to break.
Who spiked the
See you
pie?
guys in a little bit.
You just rolled 3/4.
Whoa! We'll see you on a little bit. Stick with us and bye!
Bye.
Your dreams that you have, insignificant, that you won't remember by the time morning comes, fade away for a moment. All of a sudden, you have the experience of floating southward. You're over a vast desert, sandy dunes as far as the eye can see. Eventually, atop one of the dunes, ruins. Bless
Bless
you.
you.
Light,
Bless you.
light gray, sand-blasted sandstone ruins poking up through the top of this dune. Fades. A spiral staircase descending downwards. Fades. A large room containing artifacts, long since lost, different focuses, mage focuses. Fades to a specific focus. A staff and a book. The wood of the staff and the binding of the book. A beautifully intricate, unnatural purple and silver. Fades. A face in your mind. A familiar face. And for a moment you are standing, staring across an empty void and looking into the face of Selyun. Selyun,
We'll pray for you.
as she turns to you, Come and seek your power, my child. After all. And for a brief moment, the vision of the purple and silver staff and book fill your head. It is your birthright. And the dream fades. One, two, three, four. 2. T.
T for
T.
two. Sorry.
Much like
That's what it means,
dreams,
Dan.
drunken dreams that you will certainly not remember in the morning fade. And for a moment, the intoxication fades. You are stone cold sober as you stand in grass beside trees. You stare at an open field surrounded by trees, maybe 300-400 feet across, a perfect circle. This field is full of short grass and one single solitary lone flower in the middle of the field. A rose lily. Across the way you see a figure. Cloaked, unable to make out the details. Head down. They turn from the field and walk further into the tree line before disappearing. You see another figure sitting in the treetops along the very edge of the clearing. In the distance you hear a faint bit of music. Notes, at least, as though the faintest drawing of a violin bow across strings can be heard. Fades to blackness. And you return to your drunken dreams that you will not remember, but when you wake in the morning, you do remember that one. Dice back?
Sure.
One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh, I was really hoping I would get to just be the coin.
I thought it'd be the last one. I thought she wrote notes now.
We get different music.
Still,
That is my name.
You sure?
Not anymore, really.
you go to bed.
Yep.
It's just a feeling of
A feeling of what?
drunken warmth,
Mm-hmm.
freedom,
Mm-hmm.
better than you felt in a while. One dream fades into the next, until they all fade into the darkness of a night sky as you look up, stars twinkling in the distance. You look down and see your own hands wearing your usual noble attire. A silver floor beneath you. You look up again, your view is obscured by silver bars. So you're in a cage. You stroll towards the edge and look down. You're in a silver gilded cage over top your childhood home, Nightingale Manor in Waterdeep. As you sit there, high above the rooftops, you notice another cage near the fountain.
I can't spell tonight. Or write. But go on.
You see a figure in this cage. Your sister. Another cage by the gates, silver as well, holding rare.
Good?
No, I'm joking.
As you lament and consider the situation. Trapped in cages, the three of you, as you so often put it, you notice there are more than just your 3 cages.
Okay.
2 more sit in the garden, holding figures that you can't identify. 3 more sit atop the walls, all holding figures that you cannot identify. And a final cage sits on the balcony of your parents' room. This cage is frozen over with white and blue frost, icicles, and jagged shards of frozen water that are just coalesced, made to just look spiky and sharp. But inside, the slightest tinge of pink is able to shine through the ice in a kaleidoscopic sort of way, sort of obscuring the pure white blue of the otherwise frozen cage. The stream goes on like this for hours, for minutes, for seconds, before fading into the darkness. You do not dream anything further that night. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Use the coin. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4. Give a coin. I just love using the coins.
1, 2.
1. Okay. Get in the cup.
Hey!
That was satisfying. I just like the coins.
Arwen,
Hi.
Hello.
much like the others, your typical dreams fade, and suddenly find yourself floating southward. Visions of a vast desert appear underneath you, an endless amount of sandy dunes.
Oh, you're talking to me.
No,
Oh.
I'm just seeing if you're paying attention or not. See if that sounds familiar. You see a set of ruins finally, poking up from the sandy dunes. A light gray, sort of sand-blown sandstone. Ruins peeking up through the dunes. Fades. Stairs spiraling downwards almost endlessly. Fades. You see a mural of all the Ferox gods.
Your Ferox heaven.
They all seem to be in black and white, save for the Twilight Dragon.
Is that the one?
The Twilight Dragon. The scene fades. You see a gem, purple and pink and orange, colors swirled like dust, calling to you. It looks similar, though different in coloration, to the gem that you found at the first temple to the Ferox that you went and met the Twilight Mouse. You feel it calling to you, specifically. The dream fades. And Fen,
You don't get a dream.
Had enough regret.
your dreams that you have through the night fade. You are now instead met with your consciousness floating over darkness, emptiness, nothingness, but not nothingness, just darkness. Visions of a pitch black inlet. Ocean water, though it's darker than ocean water should be. A citadel sunken into dark mountainous rock. Inside, your consciousness floats into this citadel and you see legions upon legions upon legions of undead soldiers, skeletons, zombies, Monsters far greater than that, even. And at the end, a tall skeletal figure in red and black finely crafted robes fades. You see a long hallway and a secret door at the end leading to a chamber. Your consciousness floats inside. 8 perfectly cut stones. They fade. A blade.
One sec. Okay.
You see a blade. A sword. At the same time, grandiose in nature, then somehow understated simultaneously. Fades. Suddenly, your consciousness finds yourself holding these blades. Holding this blade, rather. There are chains around your wrists, around your ankles, and as you go to move, they shatter, broken. A familiar voice enters your head as you hear the now familiar voice of Shar say to you, freedom, resistance, revolution. The vision of the sword once again enters your mind. Your prize is waiting. Your dream fades. And before you awaken, T,
Oh no. Oh dear.
one final dream enters your mind. You're standing on top of a ruined altar atop a snow-capped mountain. You look down, you see your body, your hand, as it reaches forward and grasps something from atop the altar. It is a pole with a curved, sharp blade attached to each end. There are words inscribed on one side of the blade near the top of the pole. You look, words inscribed to the bottom as well. They're in a language that you can't quite understand. Though as you read over them, again and again, with no ability to discern what these words mean, you try one final time to read over them, and a voice echoes in your head as you read the first side. You are the mirror. As you flip around and read the other side, a single word. Reflect. The dream slowly fades. And as it does, your consciousness slowly begins to come back to you. So, as you wake, I will give you all the choice. Everyone else first, or Sil first.
No!
Yeah, what
Don't
we
throw
want
me
to
under
do,
the
what we want to do is
bus.
pretty simple. We're leaving, but we want to see what happens to Sil.
So,
You guys
My
are
favorite
evil.
drama is that com.
You guys are evil. Okay.
Sil,
Yes. That is my
Shame.
name.
as you come to consciousness,
Yep.
you can see the beginnings of the morning turning to afternoon sun peeking through open windows in a fairly fancy room of the Elf Song Tavern. You're laying down, still mostly under the covers, head currently curled up into the awake and now sitting on the bed, leaning against the headboard, lap of Phoenix. And she just kind of curled up on her lap, one arm like underneath her back, the other one kind of wrapped around her leg. It's just all nicely snuggled up. As you come to consciousness. What do you do?
Well, first, I'm seeing the time. I'm just going to think to myself, like, that's going to be 1, 2, 3. They want to kill me, all women. I think he would just blink a few times. He's not no means an experienced drinker, so
You're fairly hungover.
yeah, I'm gonna say he's fairly hungover. Probably raging headache. The sun doesn't help. I think he would just try to sit up, rubbing his eyes, but it's only like making it worse. Like instead of like it just being tired, just making it blurry.
A couple of seconds after rubbing your eyes, your vision kind of comes to, and with quirked eyebrow, you can just see Phoenix just sort of looking at you, sort of amused by your current state.
What seems to be so funny?
Just you normally portray such an air of confidence. It's amusing to see you in this kind of state.
Noble, yes, but still very warm.
Just kind of like rolls her eyes before, from the side of the bed, kind of handing you a it's like one of the mugs from downstairs that seems to be filled with water.
I mean, it's half of what I do to wake up in the morning. Joke. He'll drink down. I think he won't even like even pause. It's just a continuous like downing the whole glass or mug of water.
After you finish, you just hopefully that helps a little bit.
Yeah, it's horrible now, but it's gonna be better later.
Hopefully it's not too horrible for you right now.
No, not at all. It's gonna be soon.
So, imagine there were people who were expecting you home last night.
Whom
Well, it is a little past noon at the moment, so I'm afraid you have missed the morning bit.
Mm-hmm.
Still though. That was nice.
It's 37. I'm not here.
Even if it was just for a night, it was nice to pretend that we were all that existed for even just a little bit.
It was quite a few hours.
It was quite a few hours. Just hours that have to come to an end, I suppose. Other things to do.
And what are you doing later on?
Well, I suppose I will have to stick around long enough to see how Pops fares in the tournament. After all, he's fighting you next.
Yeah, I wonder if the odds are still 20 to 1.
He's awful good with a hammer. It would, might be a little bit worse even. But, you seem to handle yourself just fine.
Yeah, I mean, someone put a 100 gold on me, and that turned out well for them.
I'd love to meet the person with those kind of balls.
Pretty big ones.
Sorry, it's just a gross way to put it.
What's next for you?
Get my ass beat by T, then Sandra, then Rax, in that order or a similar order. That's just those three for the morning.
Sounds like a good morning.
And then later on, listen to Kai bitch and whine about me still winning the fight. And then possibly saving rescuing Fen from something else.
Probably.
I
Arwen's
suppose.
just unwild.
Arwen is like a wild card, so it's like Arwen's there and not there. He's Scriger's cat.
I'm just looking it up.
Yeah.
I suppose that you should get started with your day then.
Are you always gonna be here? Which nice.
Not here per se, though.
Are you gonna fall race like Neverwinter? Usually?
No, my pops and I came from Silverland. But are you asking because you desire to spend more nights like that?
Sorry, I had to get the giggles out of my system.
Oh, maybe so.
Everybody shut up and just let us get through this, please.
Perhaps. I'd like to get to know you at least a bit better before. Why do you think I'm just a type of person so I go up to them and kiss them?
No, that's the issue. I don't think you're like that at all. I want you to get to know me. And to be honest, I could go so far as to say that I could see a world where you could get to know me and even fall in love with me, but not I don't know that you can get to know me right now.
Is there elaboration to that?
If you were to fall in love with the person that you met last night and the person that I'm portraying to you right now, you would not be
Well,
falling
there
in
is
love
currently a
with the
lack
person
of
that
clothes with that.
Fair enough. If you were to fall in love with the person that I met last night and that I am right now, it would not be the person who I actually am.
Are you going to go into further detail about that?
For your safety, I don't know that I should.
I'm in always dangerous troubles. Short of saying you're a princess, I'm not sure it's going to be anything that I have not encountered at all in the last 4 weeks.
I can promise that I'm no princess, but I'm a very different person than the one that I've portrayed you up to this point, with my own series of complications and troubles, and I suppose the thing that makes this the hardest is my own current responsibilities and things that I have to do.
I have a feeling you're not going to tell me what those responsibilities are.
Not yet. Like I said, I don't want you
Hurt.
exactly. But I suppose I told you something last night that wasn't entirely false. There is a person whom I work for who owns me in a way. And they talk often about how the universe is constantly traveling along a string of fate that at any given point has an infinite amount of possibilities that are all branching off of it, and things could go any way at any given point. And so, perhaps this is just a comforting thought for me to think that maybe there's strings, or even just a single string, where you could get to know the real me, and something like this could be pursued. That would be a lucky string for me to find, in my opinion. You will learn who I am in time. Just, if I can ask for one thing, promise that you will not hate me. Actually, that's rude of me. I shouldn't make you promise that. I'm really sorry you get hurt because of this.
Would you say that?
Would he?
I don't know. No.
He will, he won't? I'm really sorry if you get hurt because of me.
Physically, emotionally, mentally.
Physically. My goal was not to hurt you in any other way.
That's the wrong person to sleep with.
I'm trying not to say something that his pet would say. So.
I would accept your offer to continue visiting every night if I were free from all responsibilities that I carried, but alas, that is currently not. That is not how things are at the moment. I also would not ask you to wait for me, but Lord Olympus just got updated. I would not ask that you wait for me, but if you did, and the opportunity ever did come along, I would take it. But you have friends to get back to, do you not?
Yep.
Then
We're still friends at this point.
In that case, I wish you the best of luck, Sylvanus Nightingale.
I mean, that's so this is normal Tuesday. Yeah. Probably.
But it's a normal Tuesday, so this isn't it for the Friday.
Should you ever find yourself in dire need of help, and also just as something to remember me by, she kind of like is pacing as she's saying this. You're still sitting in bed nursing your hangover. She picks up something from the table beside the bed, and sort of loops it over your head and begins to fasten it around your neck. It is a necklace that is just a simple chain and has one singular object as its centerpiece, and it is a piece of very interestingly shaped, but incredibly smooth, like a crystallized amber. idea.
I am like being dumb tonight.
It's okay, we're still open.
Did you see that?
I saw it.
Thank you. Nothing. Nothing. Please don't say it. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, go on. Ash still hasn't noticed.
That's fine.
She's eating your dice. That's right, there's one less. Count 'em, Ash. I see you counting. You feel lucky, Paul? Do
Do I
you?
have candy?
Dice are better.
Did you almost eat a dice instead of a candy?
No, I tried to eat it and it fell off, and I was like,
Yeah. I saw the corner of my eye. I was like, don't talk that. Just right.
but yes, it is like a crystallized sort of amber that is like not in any specific pattern. It looks like it was almost hewn or crystallized naturally. It has no.
Have you ever seen anything like this before? Like an ember like this?
No. It almost looks as if it was, because it's not amber as though it's like the gem, like the precious, like the
Yeah.
semi-precious
Is
gemstone.
it like
It is.
the Jurassic Park type amber?
No, it is almost like
I don't know.
a very solid rough form of it was almost superheated
Okay.
and allowed to sort of crystallize in this pattern because there is no uniformity to it.
Okay. Okay.
And she leaves that around your neck. She just walks.
How big is it? Can I tell me how big it is?
Not that big. That is the Ember Heart. Should you ever need me, you can use it.
And how does it work?
We'll figure it out. Well, would not want to delay your day any further, as much as I am enjoying delaying the start of the day.
At that point, you can get dressed. On the way out, like once he gets past the front door, he would make a bittersweet kind of mused comment to himself. It's like, that's twice now, women that say they're into me both turn me down.
Now actually I'm missing a die.
I was gonna see if you were going to accept the candy from my mouth into your hand.
Why would I?
I watched
Who
Cass
did
do
you
it
go
so
get?
expertly.
I saw your bangs run away, and I was like, I know how that
Bang,
is.
foiled again.
I know how I have had bangs like that before, and I was like, there's no way he could see them that well. So I was gonna start taking more. He didn't realize it.
I just looked up and I was like, there used to be 7
I
there.
told you to count 'em.
I did. There were 7 and then there were 6.
Now
But
there's 5.
he'll make that comment to himself. Mused bittersweet as he goes out the front door.
Shouldn't necessarily turn you down.
Yeah, but it sounds like it.
So where do you head first?
Uh,
Heading to your tattoo appointment? You heading to back to the suites?
I think at first he would start to make his way towards the suites because he's like, you know what, might as well get the first half that's being out of the way.
So to the suites?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Okay.
So we're gonna cut from you for a second.
Okay.
We are going to move. T.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
Wake up on the rooftop, real hungover.
What time does she wake up?
About 11 a.m. Hungover, groggy, eyes like crusted shut,
Cool.
feeling like absolute shit. But as you kind of like take your first, kind of like give a cough to yourself, take your first breath in, a scent hits your nose. It's familiar scent. There's just coffee.
Oh.
Oof. You have to give her 2 coins now.
Like, I'll look around.
Sitting up, crisscross applesauce style, up on the roof of the shed with you, is Colette. A cup of coffee in front of her, and another one sitting next to Yora, now coming to conscious form.
It's the wine buddies.
So like,
She is reading through a book, doesn't even notice that you're awake yet.
T wouldn't admit it to anyone. She definitely cried herself to sleep that night.
Oh, Maddie!
So her eyes are probably like puffy as all hell, but she's not gonna fucking acknowledge it. She'll just do that like that morning, like 1 gold, and start sipping the
Pop
coffee.
it into her coffee.
As you put it down, Colette just kind of like leans over to where the gold is, kind of puts her hand over it, and just off the top of the roof, and just flies down into the grass, and then just comes back and just goes, "I'm gonna have to stop that eventually.
That's just wasteful.
I love this.
I have enough."
Must be nice.
Kind of turns over to look at your face, kind of looks like makes eye contact with you for a second before going. Allergies are bad this morning, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm fine. Just sipping my coffee.
I meant to ask, do you take anything in it, or have I been serving it correctly?
The extra tears in this morning, I love them.
Salty.
Sorry.
I'll take what I can get, if I'm being honest.
So, I know you have your own bed now, so you're begging the question of, why? Are you out here? Do I want to know?
Well, Sil's dead to me.
I mean, I know he beat you, but that seems a little rough.
He was supposed to be here half an hour before sunrise.
Don't think anyone's seen him since yesterday afternoon.
How convenient.
Maybe he's dead somewhere.
Mm.
Probably not, though.
Yeah, probably not.
What can I do? Enough hope.
So, you came up here with a number of bottles of wine, got blackout drunk, and slept on the roof because you were waiting for Sil?
I mean, I wanted to be a little alone, and I was gonna give him the same treatment that my teacher gave me, where you get up, really asshole early, you wait, and wait, and wait, and then she finally comes and joins you. And then you get to yell at them because they haven't warmed up.
Seems a little bit like a dick move. Who is your teacher?
Oh, you met her.
Ah, the, other Ganassi monk. She seemed lovely.
She's about as much Ganassi as you and your sister are.
Fair enough. Though a different type, it would seem.
She was more breezy.
Oh, well, then the same type. In case you did not witness me, after all of that fun stuff in the basement went down, before I could reapply my look.
I've seen enough of Gab, and as many times as she's mentioned that you two are sisters, I assumed.
That, type of look doesn't bode well for the kind of work that I do.
It doesn't bode well in most places of the world.
I can't exactly do anything less, though. Somebody has to provide for my sister. So, what are you up to now that you are out of the tournament? Sorry again about that, by the way. Did you, out of curiosity... Well, answer my first question first.
I have 3 weeks to get to the Sunset Mountains.
That's a hell of a trip. The entire range, or someplace in there in particular?
A place in particular.
Where in particular? In the Sunset Mountains?
I'm hoping Rain can tell me.
Ah, so you're trusting Rain for something important and very specific.
I don't have the time to find other options. And if he doesn't know, then... She just kind of like sighs and doesn't say anything further.
Then
and I've failed again.
Not necessarily failure. Do you plan to go there at some point? It's an eventual success.
Not if they're dead when I get there.
I take it the scroll worked.
Yes, it worked.
Are they alive?
Barely.
Well, if they've been alive for 5 years, why do you think they would suddenly be killed now?
Because I also saw what they're doing to them.
Well, it's probably been doing that for 5 years. Not to make it sound any better, but it's not like it's going to take you another 5 years to get there.
But it might be another 5 years before I have the opportunity I have now.
Still, it sounds like you don't know where you're going. I don't think searching the entire mountains is necessarily a good strategy. They're very large ranges.
Well, I left my mountain to search the world for one, so...
Yeah, but finding yourselves in cities and different things like that is very different than finding yourself among lonely mountaintops, no food, no water, no shelter. Could get attacked by strange monsters while you're there, or along the way, and then you die, and then you still fail.
At least then it'll be over.
Only for you. I think that's I'm surprised at you. You're normally the voice of reason in this group. Do you have any idea how that sounds? Do you think just because you're not alive to witness their suffering, that they suffer any less?
No, but it's me being honest with myself. I know I'm not going to save them one way or the other.
Now
I'm
you're
not good enough.
I think you're doubting your capabilities, but you can get better. You have help. You don't have to do it alone.
Why would they? Fen, maybe. He has an interest there, but why
Still
would
seems to
anyone
like you
else?
and respect you.
Oh, yes. And then where is he?
Possibly hurt or injured. Somewhere.
And if he's not?
I'm sure he has a good explanation. He's not the kind to just disappear with no word on anything.
You guys don't know me too well.
I've only known him a few weeks. Perhaps these are his true colors.
I don't think so. He seems straightforward, honest. Maybe a little bit too much. But still, not a bad sort. It's the reason I had my eye on him from the moment he arrived. I still have my eye on him in a way. I think he's impressive in his own right, useful for certain things. Though, I certainly wouldn't say that I'm interested in him any longer in the way that I was when I first saw him.
Why is that?
Well, he confessed his feelings to Rare, did he not?
Yeah, and that didn't work.
But, when he did that, I kind of saw my exit in that part, because, you know, in my life here, I have been a lot of things. I am a lot of things. But you know what I'm not? A second choice.
Can't say I'm the same.
Why do you say that?
Second choice, third choice. Anyone who asked.
I remember you saying something like that before, but I think you're worth more than that.
Not everyone else would say that. Barely anyone.
Well, then fuck everyone else. She kind of shuts her book. When the time comes, and you intelligently decide to head out to these mountains, when you know where you are going, and when you need help, let me know, and and I will be with you every step of the way.
I can't ask that of someone that has no ties to this. You could die.
I could die doing a lot of things that I do. I'm offering.
I won't have the gold to repay that.
You don't need any gold. I have my own interest in you.
Everyone keeps saying things like that. It makes no sense. I'm just garbage. People tread on me. I'm nothing.
Well, Gruff is
somebody
part of
after
it.
my own heart.
She gets up, stretches a little bit, begins to make her way over to the side, kind of turns back. I think you think that with some of the things that I say to you, I am teasing you with them. Am I correct in that assumption? I'm typically fairly good at reading people, even people like you.
I know you're not serious.
I am. But there's one thing in particular that I've heard. You said that you'd say yes to anyone who asks.
Then, now's a bit different.
That's why I'm not asking you. I don't want you to say yes because you'll say yes to anyone who asks. I want you to see me, and I want to inspire in you the kind of feelings that'll make you ask yourself. Ask me. And so, for that I'll be waiting. But know that that answer will be yes. With that, she turns around, hops off.
Right before she leaves, she'll just say, "So you'd be third?"
I'm sorry?
Oh. I thought Kai gets around.
Not even honoring that with a response.
Do you mean overall or just specifically in order? I did not mean to be your first.
I mean, I am struggling between the choice of two.
And then I suppose that is why I haven't asked myself yet. Like I said, if you ever do ask, I will know it is because you have decided that I should be one. And if that doesn't happen, then so be it. But if it does, then I'll be here. I don't want to force you into saying yes into something you don't actually want. So, no, that actually leaves.
I just imagine T's like sitting on the edge of the roof now, like feet hanging down. You just hear like, ah, and she like does like that sitting up to laying down thing.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Alternatively, the rest of the group does the laying down to sitting up thing.
Everyone else comes too. I imagine the three of you are all gathered downstairs.
Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh, well, Sill's not here.
Yeah,
Guess
I'm
we're
fine.
going without him.
as it's say around 10 a.m. Twy makes her way downstairs as well. Backpack packed, daggers at the hips, ready to go.
She's so good.
And gives you a nod. This is probably really dumb.
No, think of it as really bold. Bold is the word one uses when they want to politely say stupid.
How bold of you.
Exactly, Kai.
I was waiting for that.
I don't know, I'm enjoying this.
By all means, you don't have to come. I haven't rented the horses yet.
No, I know. I just have always...
But do you have a horse?
I don't.
Sorry, logistics.
I've always sworn to value my personal freedom that I have gained over ever returning back home and making any sort of difference, honestly.
A little bit understandable. I guess sort of going to just leave that all behind. I certainly did that for a while, but soon forgot the whole reason I escaped was to go back and help those who were helpless.
Yeah.
We were helpless once.
I know. And I still don't want to go back, but I'm doing this anyway.
I think you're making a smart choice. Sometimes we have to put ourselves through incredibly uncomfortable stressful situations to grow. And hopefully not die.
Round about noon hits, you're getting ready to go out and rent the horses, and trudging in through the front doors is a very tired, very hungover looking Sylvanus.
Sylvanus, you look absolutely drained.
I
Are
can
you
see the
alright?
short stairs.
I imagine kind of like wraps his arms around like your shoulders and just spins you back around away from the stairs.
Well, Sylvanus, if you're coming with us, you should get ready. We're about to leave. For, the Lich. Undead Army. All those things. Well, I have to... So... Oh, maybe I shouldn't buy a potion. Horse is there. Oh, back if we make it out on time. Which we will! Sylvanus, can you hear me, Sylvanus? You're not replying. Usually you have...
Where were you last night?
Usually by now you'd have lots of mean things to say, Sylvanus.
Walking through the lobby now, finish the conversation with T. You just see Colette as she's about to make her way upstairs, just stops, looks over, and just goes, after hearing your question, goes, Elf song, I do believe.
Wait, who says that?
Colette does.
You are patronizing another tavern?
Get over yourself.
Sandra!
Peter!
Oh, Sandra's
Elf song.
pissed, by the way.
That's in our tavern.
But,
I know,
this
it's
way, if
been
we
there.
get out of here soon, Sandra's gonna beat the shit out of her.
I feel like in that moment someone's just like, you could afford elves.
I was thinking that, remember? I was like, does he jump on that?
What were you doing in elf song?
It's a tavern. What do you do at taverns?
He was cheating on Sandra.
Yes, totally.
And the
Me and
dessert-
Sandra have been lovers this whole time.
Oh, I think you make a cute
Oh my
couple.
fucking god.
Why drink an elf song when you can drink here?
Because I don't have to deal with this.
I don't have a response to that.
Halfway up the stairs now, Colette just calls back. Don't know what he was there for, just saw him there on my walk home.
By himself?
Suspicious that Sylvanus didn't want to hang out
He
with us.
was at a table. And then continues walking upstairs.
You're not gonna brag?
No.
Do I
T,
seem like a
do you eventually come back inside?
He said he might to kindly.
No, I'm waiting for Syl.
Gotta get in front.
Well, anyways, I have to go rent some horses. I figure I might as well give him the check that I bought old gooseberry from. Am I counting you in still?
Sure.
All
I'm
right,
gonna do a great
Give me a nice one.
I'll get you whatever they have, Kai. Maybe a beautiful white mare.
I think you said the place you said to meet up was not
Or
where you
back.
are.
It's just
I
brat
said
horse.
meet out back a half an hour before sunrise.
So what are you doing?
Get what you get.
There is still a letter.
Well, we're gonna go get, because I think he would think he. Yeah, he would just get stuff and go to get his ass beat by T.
So you go and get your stuff. You are
You don't need
walking
stuff
through
if
the
you're dead.
kitchen to get to the back, and as you do,
So,
It's like
Give me-
dong.
give me 1 second.
so both Fen and T's letters to him are still on his bed.
Yeah.
You go back to your room to get your stuff, right? Are on the bed.
I put mine under his pillow that said, "If I'm not back in the morning, check under my bed." And
I
I
just
think
left mine on
Fen's is
top
like
of his bed so he
the,
could see it.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
you would see a letter on top of your bed. Do anything else?
I probably he would probably be like putting like like folding up his blanket and stuff, like actually like taking care of everything.
So you see whatever letter is from Fen,
It says literally what he just told you because he didn't know if you were coming back in the morning or not.
and you see a letter from T that says, "I'm not back in the morning. Check under my or check between my mattresses."
yeah, check under my mattress or something like that.
She got 2 mattresses.
It was on the
Okay.
mattress.
I
What do
think
you
as
do?
he's getting his stuff, he'll be reading as he goes back downstairs.
But you don't check under the mattresses.
I mean, if it's like part of the cleaning up and you're like tucking the sheets underneath the bed.
No, it's her
No.
note says to check
You-
under
you
her.
find-
Oh
you
yeah,
find-
then
you
I
find-
would. Sorry, misheard. Yeah.
You would check under the mattress.
Yeah.
All right.
Have you seen this man?
Oh, she's been wanting people to read these forever, so.
So it's a big sealed envelope that has a letter that has 2 more
my
envelopes
God.
inside.
Can we read
And
this out?
as soon as you open the big envelope, there's 50 gold hidden in it.
Shit, I should have checked under her mattress first.
No, but
Wait, do
you
I
would
not
read
read
this
this
one
one
Opinion
first?
stores
Okay,
is
okay, this one. I wasn't sure which one.
Just all crumbs.
Meanwhile, downstairs with the wormling. So as he reads that, so what sort of stuff were you looking to? Did you want the wormling to focus on? You keep reading. You gotta do shit. I'm doing shit with everyone else while you read this. What kind of stuff would you like the wormling to focus on learning?
We want her to be strong and smart. But for right now, her being smart isn't going to help us.
Not necessarily.
I can't believe how close I was to reading these, and that took like 2 seconds for you guys to do that.
I'm just like,
Can you do this after we finish out the dragon stuff?
I already gave me info about the dragon stuff before for the first few level ups. AC.
AC and AC.
I kept saying just keep boosting AC until it's like at least 16.
And then I don't know. As far as stats, I'm cool with like int at some point though. I'm chill with her being like smart. But, I definitely want her to be strong.
Camera.
I don't know.
We're just talking about it right now because
To give
Pat has to read these letters before we can continue RPing. So rather than it be dead silence for like 5 minutes while he reads letters.
I don't know. How much gold does it cost to rent the 5 horses for 2 weeks?
5 gold pieces per horse.
25 gold.
I was like 50.
No.
Okay, I can afford that.
You like freaked out and was like, it's 25.
I mean, I
If
guess.
you'd like to.
Well,
To try and save you gold.
yeah. I can pay 25. I won some money on Sylvanus.
I lost some money on Sylvanus.
Stop. I'm just
And actually,
yeah, I'll pay 25.
I'll say at level 4, one of the things that the wormling got was it got its first stat increase. So Arwen, since you are the closest with the wormling, I will let you pick which stat you would like to increase. All right, roll me a d2. The stat is either going up by 1 or by 2.
The coin. 2.
All right, so the intelligence goes from 12 to 13.
I dropped it, didn't I? Sorry.
Still,
It's okay.
slightly smarter wormling.
She can also communicate in shapes now.
Oh my god, that's a lot to take in. Oh my god.
T is pregnant with Syl's baby.
Yep.
Oh! No, he just basically has all of the missing gaps of my backstory now.
So is that how she's guilt tripping him into training? Is just telling her about her
No,
tragic
she
story?
didn't. She got so drunk that she forgot they were there.
Oh, okay.
Like, the only hint I'll give you is the outside letter. The first line of that says, "If you're reading this, I'm dead."
It still hasn't seen tea since it got back to the,
Oh no.
Yeah.
to the tavern.
So what are you doing?
Probably
running
that.
down the stairs, Mach 5.
Yeah, yeah. Probably muttering underneath his breath more than like 2 or 3 times, like, I'm gonna kill her.
She's already
She's
dead.
dead.
I mean, I was breaking into the academy and stealing from them. They had more than enough firepower to kill me.
So you're heading inside, or you're heading outside?
Yes.
All right. As you run through the kitchen, do me a favor.
Yeah.
And make a wisdom saving throw.
Uh-oh.
Wait, let me see what the
Nat
20?
20.
Hey!
Let me see what the DC would be.
High numbers were bad.
Oh,
She
Sandra's
just said
so
yes,
mad
look
at
at the
you.
What is Oh God, actually.
Oh no.
What's your what's your
It'd be
wisdom
23
save modifier? 23 total. All right, so you.
Sorry, the DC was 23 and a half.
It was probably 24.
No, the DC was 22, which is
Okay.
still impressive. So you only succeeded because you're not 20. Yeah, you run right through the kitchen without any sort of issues, but
Yeah.
it's only gonna make it worse on your walk back.
Yeah.
She tried to cast Hold Person, but
Oh,
I'll say it's a Hold Person with a DC of 22 because that's her spell save DC. She wasn't expecting
You know
someone
now
to roll
she's
that 20.
offended.
To be honest, that's pretty impressive.
Sandra. That's right. She's
Don't
not.
run in my kitchen.
She's not gonna use Hold Person again.
She's just gonna use power word kill.
Just gonna use happily to the
So
ground.
you get to Outback. You look up at the shed, and there's T sitting on top of the shed.
So, still is definitely a mix of emotions, like fury, like confusion, among other things. He's like just trembling. It's hard to like tell if it's just fury, upset,
As soon
Scared.
as I see he's outside, I'm jumping off the roof to land right in front of him, very pissed.
his finger would be like at like the base of her neck. Tempest. What?
She will grab him by the collar of his shirt and slam him against the shed and say, "Where the fuck did you hear that?"
You left letters on my bed.
I didn't.
Oh no.
Did you read everything?
Yes.
Don't fucking call me that first off.
Oh! What do you think her name is?
She understand for something.
Oh, my brain registered it as Temptress, and I was like, that's a weird thing to call her.
That's a
That's
hot
you.
name. I wrote it.
She's gonna like very slowly put him back down on the ground and say, "Well, if you didn't make me wait fucking hours, this wouldn't have happened."
It'd still be on his
He's like
bed.
looking to the side now.
Why would you even leave it on my bed?
I did a thing.
You don't even
last
remember
night.
it?
Well,
That's a lot of information.
I sort of broke into the academy
You,
last
whoa,
night.
whoa, whoa, whoa. You sort of broke into the academy.
I stole a
You
scroll.
know the place where they like arrest you for not having a focus?
So I stole from them as well.
Why did you break in? Why did you steal from them? Why would you even steal from them?
I got a scroll of scrying. And I saw some shit.
Oh,
And I got real drunk and passed out here.
what you? Did you see something at the academy?
No, I got back here and Sandra helped me scry for Gruff.
And
And some other people that I'm aware of are also with him. And he's alive, but he's been tampered with and injured, and
I think he would have. He's like, is it any of the names that are in here?
they better not be there. And she's just gonna
Yeah.
and like shove them. I imagine she doesn't even have her bag at this point, so she's just like shoving them in the side of her pants.
Okay, so you saw other people there. Who?
I mean, you wouldn't know them, so what is it?
Yeah. Is it, any other piece of your family?
No.
Is that why you're so particular about my sister? Was because of your situation?
She's small and defenseless. And I don't know. If I found Gruff, I'd want to rescue him.
He's your husband.
Uh-huh. Okay. The $50 was there, right?
In the envelope.
Yeah, he would have. Okay, so because I imagined to read it open, it would fall.
Yeah.
He would just, shove that into her hands.
She also shoves that back, but hands one gold.
No, you're not giving me a gold for this. T. You almost like let's say Tempest says T. Oh my god, I don't even know if I want to be furious. I don't even know if I want to be upset. I don't even know how I want to feel towards you right now.
Well, you know what I'm feeling.
Oh yes.
Rather angry. Do you know what time it is?
Oh
I
my
am
God.
well aware what time it is. And that's kind of pale in comparison of the scrying and these letters.
Not to me.
I'm sorry for out of character.
Next, she's gonna grill you about your grandma.
I would
She's just gonna be like, maybe I just assumed that you wanted help and that you actually wanted to win the tournament. I guess I assumed too much and just pushed myself into a situation I wasn't needed in.
Correct.
Forgive me for having a night where I wanted to actually celebrate me doing something at least substantial in ability. What the fuck are you doing?
Then tell me that you didn't want my help.
Excuse me?
You don't want my help, don't you? That's why you didn't come.
I do want your help.
He did come.
Yeah.
I am out here with all my gear.
6 hours.
And I am always the type that even I drink one drink, I pass out for a while. I wanted to be here much earlier, but...
And now Fen wants to leave, so we don't exactly...
spell was cast on me?
No.
The whole person I want to know?
You hear what sounds like 5 horses being taken to the front. I can't wait to go on this adventure.
Fen
Me,
wants to leave.
Fendian. This is the 3rd sentence I've spoken today.
And everyone I talk to says that I should just forget about Gruff and just go do this bullshit. Even though I have 3 weeks, which Annabog isn't going to be at the fucking Sunset Mountains.
How do you know that?
She just kind of like looks to the side, kind of like almost kind of like that like when
Looks
you're
at the
like yelling
camera.
at your cat and your cat's just like
At this moment, actually, you hear a voice coming out of the back door. As you're not facing the door, but T, you would see longer blue hair as Aqua kind of comes out the door and just goes, "Oh, here's." You like just kind of leans in and you just hear, "Here she is, Knight. T, how did you manage to get the scroll?" And then kind of like see you two yelling at each other and just be like, and immediately turns around and starts walking back inside.
They can bloody wait.
No, I think we're done here. And she's gonna start trying to walk away.
Not supposed to.
Do you walk back inside?
I'm heading towards the door.
Sure.
Heading towards what?
The door. Depending on what he says, she might stop. Oh. Looking at Dissonant Whispers card.
Yeah. No, you would run away as far as possible. I need to pick up this.
She'll get to like rate the doorway, and then she'll be like, I guess if you actually need help with daggers, you could always ask Alwyn, can't you?
You're unbelievable.
Owen doesn't know what the fuck he's doing.
She's just trying to guilt trip him.
So what are you two doing?
I'm walking inside now.
So what are you doing?
Well, I'm not giving you 10 HP.
I mean, yeah.
Oh my god, 5 horses.
So what are you doing?
I think we would storm back inside.
Okay. You get about 2 steps inside before all of a sudden just kind of like the sickle of Sandra sticking into the wood and like the circular part of it just perfectly encompassing your neck as she just holds onto the handle and it just sort of like has it right up to your throat.
Oh my god, just
Nice of you to join us.
Mm-hmm.
You appeared to be absent last night.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't know I made that meeting mandatory or optional.
Well, I have friends there that they can inform me the next day.
Yeah, all your friends were there. But I specifically wanted to talk to you about stuff.
I'm sure you know stop sending if you did.
She doesn't.
that was the worm like.
That was a great noise.
She's kind of glaring at you. You know, I could squash you right now, like a bug. But this talk can wait until you're ready to be a little bit less of an asshole. She just kind of like unwedges the thing and just lets you go.
I just imagine from like they're in the doorway of the kitchen to the entrance, and T's in the doorway of like the kitchen to the bar. Yeah.
I don't actually think he did anything bad wrong. He just
No, but T's just a bitch.
Squash him like a bug after last night, you probably let her.
Oh my god.
You would head back into the room.
So the 5 of you are now on the bar. Twy is there as well.
Sylvanus, you're back!
Twy just kind of like looks over the 5 of you and is just like, so are we going?
Well, that was the plan, but no, I can hear you guys from down the street. Walls was So not sure what's going on there, but I would like
Could I
to
buy
leave
2 bottles of wine?
as soon as possible to sort of get this out of the way,
8
and then the
silver.
closer we get that, the closer
8
we
silver.
can get to Chernobog, but more equipped, which is what I would like to do. Don't like him very much, want him to be gone as well.
How long is
Anyways,
this trip again?
Well, seeing as every time I turn around, someone else is telling me that I need to put what I want to do on hold, I guess I'm going with you.
wonderful, T! We got you this lovely purple horse that's outside, because you're purple too. And you go outside, it's just like a brown horse. Oh no! He's
I'm
so
colorblind.
magical that he turned himself brown to be conspicuous.
Wow.
Inconspicuous.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Inconspicuous!
I felt that was in character though.
It's T's horse, his name is also T, because he's your horse for 2 weeks. T.
All of you are getting ready to leave now, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna like repack my letters.
Also, if anybody wants to buy anything, you know, we have a little bit of time before we have to
I
go.
did. I bought 2 bottles of wine for the trip.
And water?
Do you need to go back upstairs to
blind.
like pack your traveling gear then still?
Imagine Kai just holding
As
them
you
up
do,
like and
you're
blind.
kind of like kneeled over your backpack, sort of packing things up, and you just feel a very hulking presence to your left.
It's Jojo Bendian.
No, it's just arms
no.
arms crossed, kind of looking at you, one arched eyebrow racks. Did you forget something today?
Yes.
He forgot a lot.
Alright. Well, you could have just said no to the gift.
No is other things.
Right, well, I heard you're, leaving for a bit.
I wasn't aware that'd be 1 o'clock or noon today, but it seems.
You know what's gonna be today?
Seems
Not
so.
just not one.
Well, mine's already done, but, I can take you for yours when you get back, I guess.
If I'm not dead by then, or in like here, hopefully I will be.
I cracked all my knuckles. There we go.
Hopefully not. But, good luck. Be safe. Just kind of walks away.
Like Temp is so much better than T.
She ain't said she will hate.
Does she have like any of like her tattoos exposed?
Who, Rash?
Yeah.
No. She just has like a very loose fitting tunic on at the top.
Oh god, she can't sleep on her back for months.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean it's like all over her body. I think it's like her back and like
It's a
stomach
rib.
and
Ooh, the armor.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, the next
So
round.
And the
she
big
kind of
sword?
she kind of
Yeah.
stops for a second and just kind of turns back around. Oh, in case you're wondering, that Anna girl who does them is tattoos are actually magic. Kind of impressive. I was on the fence whether or not it would work, but they do. So
What does it do?
Magically removes her clothes.
we'll see. Just kind of gives a smile. Would have showed you if you would have showed up, but
I've been hearing that a lot this morning.
interesting.
Floor is out.
Well, I hope you had a good morning then at least.
Nope.
No?
Nope.
Good night.
Yeah.
What was that, ZZ Top?
No, that was fucking that was like fucking Schoolyam Fancy Some laugh.
I'm sorry. It wasn't supposed to be that laugh.
That was so good.
Johnny bro.
I just wanted it.
Sounds complicated. Won't ask. She just kind of like tries to like stretch a little bit and just. It's gonna hurt for a while. Oh, worth it though.
Seems so. You really wanted it.
Yeah, it's meaningful in its own way. Like I'm sure yours is. Well, like I know yours is.
Yes, but I don't think many people understand what it means.
I do.
You're a fan of plays?
I've seen my fair share.
That thing is be so turned to like cock his head. You don't seem the type to go to many.
Then I guess you don't know what type I am yet, then do you? With that, she turns around and she walks away.
What's going on with my life with these women?
It just seems you're very bold.
Got him.
She's bold thick.
You wanted that one?
Sorry.
That was like the worst joke of the night.
That was the best joke of the night. Like,
Well, because they keep using bold instead
You'll
of like
understand when
stupid
you're
or
older.
dummy. So called bold pick.
You hear Sylvanus, hurry up! It's Fendian like hitting the roof.
So the 6 of you get ready to
He
leave.
grabs Kai's.
How long did it take to get to Ocean Lily last time? 4 days?
It was like 4 days.
So it'll take 5 days to get there?
It's about a day traveling with the other boat, too, I believe.
No, it'll take you maybe 4 days, maybe a little bit less to get there, since you did kind of stop and like it took you 4 days to get there, and you stopped and fucked around at the temple for a little bit.
Okay.
So like you could probably get there in like 3 1/4, 3 1/2, and then you just got to get across the street and into there.
Okay, so
With the ship taking you back, it's about 4 days until you're at like on the doorstep of the crypt. 2 days in the crypt, 2 days travel back. It's looking to have you back in Baldur's Gate in 8 days' time, so that way you can be back with about 2 days to rest up before the second round of the trial strength.
and so that I can intercept those messengers.
Yeah, so you will be back before
It
the Tentac
all
hearing.
works out.
Yeah, but I don't get to
And also-
rescue.
We'll
And
all
also
get to
despite-
rescue.
Despite the fact that you were drunk at the time, you do in the back of your mind still remember seeing some random gunslinger just absolutely assassinate 3 criminal people last night. Maybe criminal people, maybe in the guild, don't really know.
I have enough on my plate right now.
I'll say that's in the back of your mind.
I'll mention it while drunk at the fire later. No, okay.
Well,
I saw 3 people murdered last night.
so the 6 of you get ready to go. We'll get to that fireside conversation because I'm actually excited to hear that. But the 6 of you get ready to go. Yeah, Rax would have heard about it. So as you are approaching the bridge, getting ready to leave, 2 more horses ride up to your group,
Oh, bandits already?
and you see from the Trial of Strength, Devereaux, as well
Oh, the
as
ranger guy.
yeah, as well as his sister, because you saw like his sister kind of like cheering for him from the sidelines as he got drawn. They just kind of ride up to you and just go, heard from a little birdie that y'all were heading back up to Ocean Lily.
Yep.
All right. You would actually so you weren't here when Devereaux made his entrance, but you would recognize Devereaux as they were there running a sort of tent into like for people interested in joining like a Rangers Guild. You would recognize him with the mask that he wore. That was like a combination of like, so like white and red is the masks that you've seen the Black Rose people wore, but their masks are like black and like light blue and like light purple. But with his mask sitting around, you would recognize it as the exact same mask and a fairly similar build of a person who killed the wolf that was stalking you as you went through the
Well, I
valley.
didn't tell you guys about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had you mention it. You were like, oh, you're like, I remember him. They're like, remember when we were getting stalked by that wolf? And everyone was like, no. And you're like, oh, I forgot to tell you about that. We were getting stalked by a wolf, and this ranger guy totally like bailed us out and killed it before it could get close. But you would recognize him as that, and he's just like, right. So,
We'll see you there, I guess. I'm just kidding.
do you mind if we ride along with you about halfway and then kind of stop off to where we need to go? We just need to pick up a couple more supplies and grab a couple new people for the rest of the festival here from our
It's agreeable with everybody
outpost.
else. I don't see why not. Safer to travel in numbers, of course.
As long as it doesn't slow us down.
We
Why
certainly
not?
will.
Well, they're rangers. I'm pretty sure we'll be slowing them down. So, just kidding. We're a capable bunch. Please join us.
All right, sounds good then. You seem like trustworthy folks. You've been vouched for by someone whose opinion we consider, I guess, highly. Still,
The Duke?
No.
The Duchess?
I know
Nope.
who he's talking
The
about.
other Dukes and Duchesses.
What?
Sandra?
No.
I know who he's talking about.
Audie knows who he's talking about, but Fenny.
This tea, I don't remember if I was there. I was there, right?
I don't know what's happening.
I think she only said it to Sylvanus.
But you would have seen like the interaction between them.
Oh no,
When
I
they got
asked when
thrown.
we drank that one night.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
keep
So
track
so
of all
yeah.
the
So
drinking.
T would know.
Well, anyways, you're of course welcome to join us.
All right. Let's get on the road then.
Come on, Gooseberry. What'd you all name your horses?
Horse.
It's a good one. Easy to remember.
Depends what the color my horse is.
I don't know blue.
What?
I don't know. I'm not the DM.
What color is my horse? Quick.
It's white with spots that are also white.
It's an Appaloosa.
It's white with white spots. Whoa.
All I know is that I made the executive decision that Tia's horse is brown.
It sounded like you said the sexy decision. I was just like,
Yeah.
what?
Its name
What are you doing
is
with your horse?
Huh?
What are you doing with your
I
horse?
actually really like that. It's cute.
God, what color are the other horses?
Char.
Bow down, peasants. Yeah, Char's voice is here. And this horsey is black. And this horsey is gray. Yours is black as night. Yours is gray with like cute little white spots.
Trade with me.
Yours is white with white spots.
Ella.
Gooseberry is black.
Goose is
You can ride on Gooseberry if
I
you
will
like.
give it out.
You did that thing cats do when you scare them and they just kind of like,
Midnight.
Oh my goodness.
bless you, person
Bless
off camera.
Midnight.
Hold on.
Midnight. You asked what the name of the horse was.
My
I think
last
he's in a
one.
bit of a dark place, Gooseberry. Whisper that to my horse.
Oh, you're serious? You actually want us to name the horses?
If you don't bond with your steed, how can you trust them to take you through dangerous situations? Me and Gooseberry? Ooh, we're tight.
Sorry, guys, listening to that microphone.
Blow out.
Anyways, trust between you and your animal companion means that they'll keep you safe on the road.
Alright, name it for me.
I
How
don't
you name
know. It
It's-
has to come from
fuck
your
it.
heart. Name him Heart.
T's just gonna say.
Merlot.
T's
I don't
gonna
know.
say horse and Orcish.
Horse.
Yeah, that would be Sylvan.
On the road again.
To say, and you actually do as you like go and just kind of like her horse is also the same color as Arwen's, just kind of like
White with white spots.
yeah, white with white spots, and just kind of like rubbing the top of its head very affectionately, and just goes, "Your name is gonna be Moxie, isn't that right,
Aw.
Moxie?" And just like being like really careful with it.
Oh, that's wholesome. That's wholesome. Oh, no,
I know.
No. No. Tried to have fun with words and the word got
Fucked, literally.
Ah!
Oh.
Nay.
Oh, I almost snorted.
And so you ride off, beginning your journey toward the Warlock's Crypt. The 6 of you, well, no, the 8 of you traveling, wormling, flying overhead. And that is where we will end tonight's episode, because I believe I have tortured all of you enough for one night.
That was fun.
So we will get ready to do some more fun next week. Probably should get to the whole Warlock's Crypt. Get ready for T to maybe find out where the fuck she has to go. Really surprised all 5 of you are still together as a party, because honestly didn't know that we'd make it this far.
Me neither.
Yeah, we were close. T was thinking about it.
I had some good heart-to-hearts. Everyone had some good dreams. Everyone knows what they have to do next.
Oh, before we would leave, I'd write a letter to
Not my
Lena
letter.
and put one of the bracelets in it and send it off.
Lumina, if you're receiving this, I'm dead.
That sends the wrong letter.
Act as if I haven't already written that.
Make a wisdom check to see if you send the right letter.
So,
That's
Make
why
a
she
bold
keeps them
Thank you.
sealed.
thank you all for watching.
Thank
Uh,
that announcement?
Yes. And one announcement before we finish up. We live in the United States of America, and so things are a little weird at the moment. So we plan to continue streaming every single week on Saturday, 7 p.m.
Eastern Standard Time.
But stay tuned to our social media on any posts on whether or not we will have to postpone that, as our country has in the past couple of days declared a state of emergency for the country as a whole. And so things could happen, and if they do, then we will keep you updated on our social media platforms as to whether our streaming will continue as regularly scheduled. Hopefully it does, but you never know.
Worst case, maybe it just won't be this campaign, but it'll be something.
We'll most likely do something on Saturday because, well, yeah, we don't need to go into it.
We'll figure it out.
Regardless,
Mm-hmm.
thank you all for watching very much. We love you. We appreciate you. And until next time, we've been the Unlucky Few. Bye!
If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. We'll be live streaming starting November 9th at twitch.tv/TUFD&D. If you want more content or updates from us, feel free to follow us at Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, all at TUFD&D. Links in the description below. But from all of us here at The Unlucky Few, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.